Bonjour, c'est Claire at French in the Midlands. This video is about how and when we use all the different tenses in spoken French. So this is just about the main tenses and not about the hundreds of different ones you can find in books, etc. Make sure you watch till the end because there's a special note about the subjunctive and I really want you to listen to that. Okay, let's have a look. Let's start with the present tense. That's the, I'd say, straightforward one. It's used for actions happening right now. For instance, je parle means I talk and I am talking. Remember that in French the present tense is both I talk and I am talking. That's something students forget. Sometimes I say to them, how do you say I'm talking? And they start saying je suis parle. Doesn't mean anything. We also use it, and that's not something people realize they can get away with, when we recount an anecdote or a story as if it was happening right now, and this is to make it feel more alive. In this example, you'd start by saying, alors, je pars travailler ce matin, et voilà que ma voiture tombe en panne. So, I was leaving for work this morning when my car broke down. In French, what you're actually saying is, I'm leaving for work this morning and my car breaks down. See how it makes it feel like it's happening now. This is really for to keep people interested in your story, to make it feel like it's really happening right now. So it's quite useful to know that. The future tense. Bear in mind we use the immediate future a lot more than the actual future tense. The immediate future, which is you're going to, is used for actions happening in the near future, usually. For instance, je vais parler is I'm going to talk. And you see that the vais bit is the going to. So it's the same structure as in English, which is why I really like this one. The actual future tense, you will use more for actions happening in the distant future. Not always, but just more. You'd say, for instance, quand je serai à la retraite, je voyagerai beaucoup. When I am retired, I will travel a lot. And what we actually do in French is we say when I will be retired. You've noticed that you got will after quand, the future tense, which you can't do in English. Remember that you can use it in French like that. Before we carry on, let me just tell you that I have a complete verb and tenses booklet with lots and lots of practice and exercises and examples, everything in one, that you can purchase at frenchinthemidlands.com/ebooks.html. So if you're interested, just go and have a look. Now let's have a look at the conditional tense. This one's really straightforward. It's for things that you would do. I'm going to show you the two main uses of the conditional in French through two examples. The first one, on pourrait aller à la plage aujourd'hui. We could go to the beach today. So just like in English, when you want to suggest something in French, you use the conditional. We could go, on pourrait. And then of course it's used for statements containing if. If I won the lottery, I would buy a big house. Si je gagnais au loto, j'achèterais une grande maison. Si je gagnais, if I won, that's in the imperfect tense. And the j'achèterais, that's you would, une grande maison. I would buy a big house. Now let's go to the past tense, which is the passé composé, and that's the one we use all the time to recount what we did that morning, yesterday, last week, and it's all about one-off actions. And it can happen at any point in the past. For instance, hier, on est allé au musée du Louvre. Yesterday, we went to the Louvre Museum. To go to the museum is not something that takes you an age. It's not a continuous action, it's a one-off thing that you did. Therefore, you will use that tense. We call it passé composé because it's made up of two parts. On est allé, we have been, you see. Whereas in English you'd say we went. In French we say yesterday we have been to the museum, to the Louvre Museum. J'ai perdu mon portefeuille. I have lost my wallet. Again, it's fine to use le passé composé here. You've noticed in the first example, you've got être, on est allé, because aller is a motion verb. And in the second one, you've got avoir, which is for any other verb, really. J'ai perdu. I have lost. The imperfect tense is used for two things. First of all, actions you used to do. So whenever you have to use used to in English, use the imperfect tense. Quand j'étais jeune, j'étais très active. When I was young, I was very active. That's when you'd use it. And also, for things that were happening in the background of the main action, whenever you're going to use was plus ing in English, then you'd use the imperfect in French. Il pleuvait quand j'ai quitté la maison. It was raining when I left the house. Il pleuvait is the was raining because it was raining in the background and it probably was raining for a while when I left the house. I left the house is the main action, which is why it's in the passé composé. J'ai quitté. Here's a special note on the subjunctive. Technically, I shouldn't include it in here because it's not a tense, but it's a mood. I'm sure none of you actually cares about this. I just want to make sure that you know this in case one of you is a grammar nerd and picks me up on it. It's actually used after expressions using que. The first example really is the one I want you to commit to memory if you can. Normally there's always a way around using the subjunctive, which is why it's not something we teach from the beginning. On this occasion, for that structure, there isn't. So I want you to really learn that. Je veux que tu fasses tes devoirs tout de suite. I want you to do your homework straight away. In French, we say, I want that you did your homework straight away. And because you've got that, you've got to have the subjunctive. So much easier in English. I want you to do. It's a nice way around it. I really like it. Unfortunately, in French, you're stuck with je veux que plus subjunctive. The good news is, for all ER verbs, the subjunctive is more or less the same as the present. It's different for IR, RE, and of course, irregular verbs like faire. So face is actually the subjunctive of faire. Another example I'm giving you, which we do use a lot as well. Il faut que je parte. I have to go. It is necessary that I left, literally. Of course, in this instance, you can always say il faut partir. We need to leave. Then that's fine. You don't have to use the subjunctive. Il faut que je parte actually makes it much more specific that it's you who's got to go. Il faut partir is more vague. And the last example I'm giving you here is je ne pense pas qu'il pleuve ce soir. I don't think it's going to rain tonight. Again, it's a bit random. Expression using que, subjunctive. So really, I want you to remember the first two. Je veux que and il faut que, plus subjunctive. That's it for now. I've got way more videos on this channel about tenses and vocab, anything you might want. Subscribe if you can. And if you want your free ebook, The 12 Golden Rules of French, ideal for beginners, just click on the link in the description and you can download it free. À bientôt!